Welcome to the Canterbury Top-Up. Thanks again to Matt, Gordo and Irish Dr. Nick for ploughing through this Canterbury card, which is obviously running on a wet track and it's on a 6-metre rail. And, we're hoping that something can win off the rails, but it probably won't. Gord, how have you seen the card after scratchings? Because obviously they cut these 2-year-old races to ribbons.
Yeah, well, a lot of things that I was entertaining backing because of price, and now with the scratchings, I don't think there's a lot of per there. So there's been some switch arounds. And I mean, when we were doing the preview last night, we were very well aware of the fact that we were going to have to get up early this morning and redo a lot of the races. So.
And with fence to go today, Gord, is that what your prognostication?
Yeah, there was a Friday night meeting, so it was a night meeting, but it was same rail position on a sticky track, and it was fence on fire.
Well, I think the wet tracks are worse than the very dry tracks because the drainage is so good on the inside that it creates a fast lane there when the tracks are wetter. I mean, not that there's not always a fast lane there. I listened to an interesting business of betting podcast with I think it's episode 132 that maybe Lewis was talking about in the chat room. Dean, the trial spy, he's so cranky about Canterbury and Caulfield, but I keep thinking of you, Gord, and the fact that you're offered an opportunity to assess the play as it happens and adjust your thinking and betting accordingly.
Well, yeah, you guys mention it all the time. You got to be nimble because things change very quickly. You got to be cautious about what prices you're willing to take when getting the right run is so important.
Anyway, you can mark something 7-2 and take 7-4.
Yeah, and I could mark something 7-2 and not want to take 8.
Yes, it's amazing. Mark, it just came to me then. This inside Canterbury, blah, blah, blah. I don't remember it like this in the 80s. I don't remember it like this in the 90s. I don't remember it in the noughties. Is it something to do with horses trained on the track, not trained on the track anymore? No track work?
Maybe. You mean they're not using the course in between times?
Yeah.
Perhaps. Anyway, just going back to Dean, his idea was just make every track off the rails because every horse can get off the rails. And that it was actually a safety issue. If you create tracks that are one-lane highways or travel aid, as he called them, that's a safety issue if all the jockeys are trying to ride the rails.
It definitely gets very dangerous, doesn't it, when it's fence on fire?
All right, so look out for it today. Race 1, it's down to 6 runners, and Ballistic Lover is the morning firmer, although it looks a good stash in the betting here between Ballistic Lover and Zelify. Gord,
Mark, I've got 7 runners. Who just came out?
Sorry, there is 7 runners.
7?
I can't count.
Oh, okay, I thought there must have been a late scratching. I was about to blow up.
Yeah, so Glenster obviously mounting yard mail with a couple of interesting
couple of really interesting debutants, and I expect number 1's going to go a lot better today from barrier 1, third up, and can't wait to look at it. Can't wait to look at Angel. Can't wait to look at Zelify, and I'm interested to see if the bottom ones improve. Is this the first time we've seen Waller with a girl apprentice?
Yeah, well, it is, but it's J Mac to Louise Day. I don't know what that means. Gord, the first thought that I had when I looked at Zelify was I liked its trials, but at the same time, is it a case of Waller trying too hard?
Yeah, well, that's what I put it down to. So I wasn't super impressed with the trial when you take into consideration the stable. But I mean, let's face it, this is just a super tricky race because Canterbury does play the way we think. Well, Ballistic Lover gets we know it's going to be in the right spot because it's out of barrier 1. But do you want to take $2.60 about a horse that could be an absolute myth?
Well, it didn't get around the circle at Wyong.
Yeah. So I can't take that price, and then I can't take the price about Zelify because, as you mentioned, there's a bit of a query there about the trial and the fact that it doesn't necessarily map in the right position. And as I mentioned before, I'm very cautious about if I'm going to take short prices on tracks like this, a lot of planets have to line up.
Yeah.
So the one that I could entertain having something on purely from a map perspective, I'm not sure it has any ability, is number 7, Found Our Thrill, because it's going to lead. So you T Clark, wide barrier, $15, and it could be a fence on fire day. Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that stole all my thunder.
Oh, really?
All right. Well, you can go now, Glenn.
I was tipping 7 on top. Why the
Oh,
fuck's
wow.
$15?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Just
does it?
burns across. Barrier 10's perfect. By the time they find their little spot, he might be off and gone here, Clarkey. 7 on top from me. I'm a little bit interested in number 9 if it's improved. I can't back number 1, even though it looks to get PR. I can't back number 6, like you said, Gord. And Angela Helena, I thought, ran through the line well, but where the hell is it going to be from barrier 9? I was interested in 7 and 9. Wow. Gord, you're finding roughies now.
That's a good summation, isn't it? Roughies.
Hey, Mark, is there any chance that Willinga Panache can make it hard for Found Our Thrill to cross with the fact that it's got 53.5?
And blinkers on, definitely.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you have got Tim Clark on a freshie that from the outside draw. That's a recipe that we've seen too often where he just gets across. Zelify, the map says that Zelify is going to find the rails in front of Ballistic Lover, which is interesting. Race 2, what are we down to here? 9 runners this time. And the action is out wide at C-Boss, the backing the Scone restricted sale race. There's been a bit of money for it. Soul Air looks pretty solid. Obviously, there are a handful of unraced horses here that are hard to line up. How did you line them up, Gord?
I think the money from Seaboss, it might be Crookie's crew. He was real keen on the figures out of that Scone race. I'm not so sure
Piedmont
about that.
gives you some line, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's some line there, but I mean, when there's a significant, obviously the Bopper absolutely flies, and the figures out of that race were far superior. I think they were a second faster than the highest standard race on the day, over the 1100 there. So there's figures there, but this thing got gapped, and it was a restricted sale only. So
SP 60s.
Yeah. So, but SP in early career less significant. But
the Bopper was
$1.50,
Glenn.
Yeah, I remember the race.
Yeah. So yeah, that's where that money come from, but not for me because I'm worried about the map and I'm not sure that it's got form. So for me, look, it was real simple. There was 2 horses there that are drawn inside that might get the right runs, and that's number 3 Edmund. I actually didn't mind the trials, and it looked like a wetty action to me, a wet action. And then you look at its breeding, and that's probably the case. I noticed in Jeff's pedigree has it as probably a stayer. But first up over 1250 as a 2-year-old, that might be all right. And for barrier 3, you could actually get on the fence. And then the other one who I know is going to be on the fence and trialled all right recently is number 16 Black Meteor.
It seemed to come back a lot better, Gord.
Yeah, I didn't mind that trial because it trialled against the senior horses. I think it was Kai Lease and
Nick Top.
Nick Top.
Yeah.
They're good horses. They're good trial horses.
Yeah, and it's out of barrier 1, so it probably sits in the right spot. Super open race. I think pretty much anything can win, but due to the reasons stated, they're the 2 I'm interested in having something on.
Well, it's so used to mark Snowden scratching runners on heavy tracks, and here we got 9 runners. He's got 4 of them.
Well, he's got so many bloody $1 million 2-year-olds. He's got to start them somewhere, doesn't he?
Well, wow.
I've never seen a
send me $33, guys. I just can't. I just want to watch them parade.
But I found it interesting that he gave Oregon only 1 trial. So, 3 earlier trials, November, and then, end of January, early February, and then just 1 trial straight to the 1040. Bowman, which Bowman rode it. So
and Bowman rode Edmund as well. So you'd assume he had the choice.
We presume.
But there's a line there through California Symbol, and the line was looking more complimentary to Edmund than Oregon for me.
All right, and Soul Air comes out of the Edmund trial as well. Could you line the 2 up? Good. I mean, obviously, what you said.
Like Edmund was completely ridden aggressively out, but I still thought it trialled better than Soul Air.
Who, Glenn, obviously this thing in the first Found Our Thrill gives us a line into Soul Air. Soul Air was a lot better run in that AIM race than Found Our Thrill was. Obviously, This is a bit stronger, this race.
Yep.
Anyway, interesting. Race 3, 3-year-olds. Lillamore looks to lead here from Battleground. The action is on the fresh upper, Vienna Rain, who I must say I found it difficult to sort of line up in this race, Fiona Rain. First up, Nash Gay. Gord, what did you say?
I got it. It's my second selection in the race.
Right.
I'm a glutton for punishment here. I've got Battleground on top.
Okay,
Oh,
so
wow.
what's the that form's starting to worry me a little bit, that Starla race.
Yeah, it's starting to worry me too. But I just think it could be an absolute wedding. So, I was super impressed with that win at Kembla.
Yeah, and he worked hard on the speed there. He comes back a shade in distance with a tongue tie on. Map has it sitting outside Lillamore, which doesn't seem great.
Yeah, but I don't have an opinion of Lillamore. So the argument I was making is Lillamore could be the fence roadblock.
Could be, but I've mentioned before that fillies are pretty adept getting around the tighter tracks. I think Pete Todd once told me, Glenn, that you go and have a look at the times comparison between the females races and the males races on the circles, and then you go and have a look to say Newcastle and compare the times between the females and the males, and the males are much faster on the bigger tracks. So clearly they are held back a little bit on the circle.
Okay, wow. Another great theory. Wow.
Oh, there's plenty of them, isn't there? Any opinion of Papal Warrior here, Gord? I mean, it's returned with a win on the track. It looks like he's going to find the fence. He's drawn barrier 3.
Oh well, I mean, more chance of finding the fence now, but I mean, there could be traffic issues on the inside here. Is what I'm saying.
That's your narrative, and I understand that. That makes sense. So I guess Vienna Rain is your stopgap there. Is if Lillamore isn't a roadblock, then Vienna Rain is an alternative to Battleground. Glenn,
the leader for me, guys, number 7, the little filly, third up. Louise Date is she's just going to pound the city racing for a couple of months. I'm tipping 7 for me.
What, she's like Winona from a few years ago.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And then
I think
then just say goodbye to them.
The timing of her move is perfect because we're gonna have wet tracks for a while too.
Yeah.
It's really good timing.
All right. Well, now the next race, the mare's race, we've got a race that looks pretty urgent, doesn't it? I mean, that Whiskey Shooter is going to put the foot down there. A hippo from the outside draw. He's got to do a lot of work to get across because it's obviously they start turning pretty quickly. Maori Girl didn't have a rider. It's now got Chris Williams. He's another desperate leading sort of rider of leaders. She looks to step out and try and seek the fence herself from a wide gate. And then you've got horses like Layla de Vega with Nash on board. He's going to soul it out and try and hold her position. And who knows where Smart Decision gets to. It's T. Clark. It surely seeks a forward position as well. It looks like an off-paces race to me. Glenn?
I'd agree with that, Mark. Yeah, I think that's a good narrative and a good analysis. And if it is an off-paces race, then it goes.
Well, the Malunka, who's first up here, and of course, this is the scene of her only win, is off the map. Gord, did you have any interest in her?
Yeah, probably the best horse in this race by at least 5 lengths.
Okay. Are you kidding, Gord? Vertical? Wow.
By the way, I only got to see 150 metres of the trial.
Oh, yeah, because of the
fog. Yeah, but it was an impressive 150.
It's a year off going a mile first up. Doesn't bother you, Gord?
No, I mean, I want to be cautious about taking short prices with question marks there, but I don't have an opinion of who are going to be first and second in the run here, which is Maui Girl. I give it none, and it's taken up a large percentage. And I don't think Whiskey Shooter is a horse, so you're probably going to need a little bit of luck. But I think it's a good horse, this Miss Belanca, and the one that might map in the right spot behind leader, because Nash will be urgent from barrier 3 is Layla de Vega, which I've had something on.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I forgot to mention that the map maker actually had my Demetra leading after all I said before. Just in case you were thinking there wasn't anything else. Yeah, look, it is a fascinating resume of Malunka, and
Fascinating race.
Yeah.
And, I didn't have much trouble sort of marking her as 7-2 at the head of the market. But having said that, obviously.
Who's that? My Demetra?
No, Malunka.
Malunka.
Yeah. Moving on to race.
What
5.
price is that horse scored, Mark?
It's
Malacca now.
370 is the best.
Yeah. It's,
Wow.
it's not very not.
I'm just going to throw an honourable mention into the roughie of the race. Aesop's Fable.
Aesop's.
Aesop's Fable. What it's called.
Yeah. 7-day backup's interesting. After I know it had a trial between runs, but did have a month between runs there, and
just an honourable
coming
mention.
out of a 3-year-old race.
Race 5.
Okay. Well, this is the race I mentioned to you off air, where sorry, just bear with me for a second. Where the early Betfair trading on fast talking. There's no other like extreme Betfair trading throughout the program other than this horse, which seems obviously fits in there as a chance. Gord, are you $33 here, or are you sort of?
No, I'm betting.
Position?
Yeah, I'm back in 1 and 2.
Oh, that's right. You did mention that to me.
Yeah, Monsieur Sisu, obviously, Christ, how many times am I going to say, oh, I've penned this horse 7 times, and then next start it's running in a race where I think it gets conditions to suit. So yet again, I'm falling into it because you're Saturday back to Wednesday. You're a go-forward horse, and you're probably a swimmer as well.
2 from 2 at Canterbury. Yeah, you would
2
have.
from 2 at Canterbury. Yeah.
Track stats, track and distance stats. I mean, and I don't even mind the 24 back to 19 as well. Obviously I'm getting sick of this horse, but at that price range, $8-9 against provincial grade horses, I've got to have something on it. And the other one is number 2, Fast Talking, which I think a lot of people will look at the wet stats and say it's not a wetty. I'm disagreeing with that. Since Cody took it over,
Cody Nestor, you mean?
Yeah, Cody Nestor. We only have to analyse those runs, and obviously one of its best runs was on the very wet track at in the Country Championships for $400,000 race, where it ran quite nicely, getting beaten 4 of a length on a real wet track, and there's nothing. That's actually good form for a race like this, because this is a shithouse race.
Yeah, and I guess Nash has caught your eye as well.
Yeah, well, Nash rode it on that occasion, and then he's back on now.
All right, Glenn, what did you say?
I said the one that's just been poking around, hanging in there, running all the honest races, number 5. It looks a Bjorn Baker race to me. Number 5 on top to beat Moon Panther.
Well, it's J-Mac, and I keep looking at this map, and we've got this not a bad idea who's discovered his mojo by going stupid in front. You've got Monsieur Sisu who has to poke forward. T. Clark's on Emperor Harada. I don't know what that means, but it can go forward. And Celtic Love is going to be trapped wide and has to go forward. Moon Panther is drawn outside Continuation, Kerwin's Lane, and Toulon Brook. I think he gets across all those and just finds the fence.
I was tipping 5, Mark, and I was interested in 7 if it got some sort of PR, which it always needs. But I couldn't consider 1. I couldn't consider 2. So I was completely opposite Gord there.
I think the suggestion is that, and was mentioned last night, that we think Kerwin's Lane's taking up far too much of the market.
I think that's fair.
Well, he's very exposed, and he's been bumming around at Newcastle there for too many runs, you would have thought. The stablemate De Valera has got some very good Canterbury runs. He's early in his prep. Yeah,
I looked at it about 8 times, Mark, and I finally just dropped off. But it's a 7B30. So I'm turning into Gordon. Gordon's tipping confidently in staying races. Beautiful. I hope I do turn into you, Gord. I don't mind going ginger and getting some money in the bank.
I'll tell you what, wouldn't it be a classic if when we're finally allowed back to the track and you're charging round, taking the $2.60, every bookmaker, and
how funny you're out the white truck on place bets.
I'm backing 50 to 1 shots of place.
Place, of course, the place.
That's if we get back to the track, we might be warned off the way we travel.
Oh dear. All right. Well, the second last is the 4-year-old and up 12.50. You've got to be pleased to see all these numbers in this race, Glenn.
Yeah, there they all are.
There they are. You can't even. It's like Pinvincible is perhaps the horse that's shed most interest shown in it this morning.
It's probably the least number.
Well, it's had relatively few starts, hasn't it? The map's interesting here because Mapmaker says that Vitesse will hold them out, but I've seen Sedition a number of times, and Sedition looks set up to be labelled pretty urgent here. So it doesn't seem like the best Pinvincible is going to do is outside lead by the looks of it.
That's fascinating.
Well, I mean, it's just a theory as well. So, who knows what they're thinking at this time, and who knows what we're looking for at this time as well. We expect one thing, but it's not carved in stone, is it?
Mm.
Gord, have you got a thought here?
It doesn't map in a position that's going to be advantageous, but I'm going to back it, and that's number 8, Monte Ditto. I just think
Gord, let me just jump in. It's Jay Collett at that time of the day with this clippity clop up front. It might map in a perfect spot.
Yeah, could.
Easy top pick.
What about Glenn? You compare when Pinvincible beat it, bloody Monte Ditto's run was about. Well, how much better was Monte Ditto's run on that occasion? It's got to have far more ability than Pinvincible.
This is the first time ever I've ever tipped this horse today. Mm. It's an easy first pick. And I think Jake Collett will get in the zone this race.
And it's got great stats on the slow stuff. Likes the track. The only negative is if we're absolute fence highway, it could be a problem. But the weird thing about this horse is when we've been on fence highway days, it still runs sensationally. So I think it can overcome that.
It goes well at Canterbury, and it's established itself now as a 12-ish horse. Previously it was restricted to 1100, but he's now seasoned. He fits in there easily with me as well. I thought that Sedition had a really good looking preparation for this with the run on a Saturday, and then the poke around in the trial, and the fact that you're going to get some intent there from Louise Day from that gate, and he races well at Canterbury. But looking to sort of oppose Pinvincible, as you said, Gord. But Tess, what do we do with her?
What is Vitesse?
Yeah.
Oh, well, she's just an honest little thing that J-Mac probably gets the best out of, barely, just midweek. But
just one of those ones. I can see you winning, and if you do, I lose money.
Good comment, Gord.
Will we see money for Drachenfels today? Jeremy Sylvester. So, Drachenfels started out with blue, went to Bjorn, he's ended up eating pies out at Cessnock now, and brought back to town with, a race that might somehow work for him.
Not for me, Mark.
No, not for me either. All right, and the nightcap back over 1550 here, and this is the trick of the day. We've got a couple of desperates in the front half of the barriers there. Chocolatier, he'll sool it out, and Assault and Battery will, desperately want the lead. Monasterio's got Hippo and poking forward. The Cartoonist is there, and so what does he do on Big Boy, or she do on Big Boy Roy here, Gord?
Well, the interesting thing is it'd be a slam dunk to be dragged. You're going top weight barrier 15, Chris Waller. The fact of the matter is, but it's close to the bottom weight with a 3 kilo claim off Louise Day.
Yeah, and so what do you think the plan will be? So
I don't know what they're going to do, Mark, is what I'm saying, because there's two conflicting things there that could determine what it does. I have to redo the race because I assumed they were going to scratch it.
You're quite right. It is the bottom weight. Gord, that's hilarious.
Isn't it great?
How mad? I didn't even notice that. How mad is that?
Yeah.
But I mean, I look at this race and I go, yeah. But it stands out like dog's balls as the best last start, doesn't it?
Oh, it's the best off the race.
Definitely.
Yeah. Mm. But what happens to it? I think it just comes down to price. Do you take $3 Big Boy Roy? Well, not really. Do you take $4.20? Yes, you do.
We don't rush in. We sort of wait and see how the track plays. So.
To me, I got number 1 on top. I'm waiting for price. I'm waiting to just check out the variables. If they did happen to be getting to the middle of the track towards the end of the meeting, I'd be betting up. Again, another great ride for Louise Day. She could win the Jockey's Challenge here today.
Yeah, and you know what the weird thing is? The two dangers I found don't map in the right position either. So I found Sneak Preview and Dream Circle as the two dangers, and they don't map right. So I don't know what I'm going to do.
Making number 1 the bottom weight. That's just fucking the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
We had a call from Vince Frangipani yesterday. He is one of our good members, been with us the whole time. Tried to call me 6 times to tell me what a great show, how much he enjoyed the show on Monday, Glenn.
He's a fucking champion. Is that Vince the factory worker?
Yeah.
Yeah, what an awesome bloke. Great bloke.
That's a fucking absolute champion.
Mm.
Really good on you.
And just loves the game, you know?
Yeah,
He does, doesn't he?
Such a just handle his life really well.
Well, we even got an email from Dream Team Matt saying he liked the show.
No.
I was thinking maybe that was because his older brother was on. But,
Richie Irvine. Yeah, a lot of people enjoyed seeing what Richie had to say, which was good. I had a few texts myself.
All right,
interesting times.
We've got Canterbury starting, well, from our point of view, in an hour and 3/4. It'll be an hour before the first. By the time you get to watch this show, we'll be back on Friday for a look at Rosehill, which will obviously be wet as well. And otherwise, I hope you have a pleasant betting afternoon at Canterbury, and fingers crossed for the Mounting Yard Mail, Glenn.
Yeah. Things can change today, I'll tell you. Anyway, it'll be interesting. Make sure you win, God. You will. Make sure we all win.
Yeah,
okay,
so keep your eye on the chat room, because obviously there'll be a lot of discussion about how the track's playing there, and that's the place to hang. And meanwhile, we'll see you back here on Friday.
See you guys.
See you guys.